So I would like to welcome you all here at today's meditation and a talk about our current situation that is happening to us all on personal and global levels. As this is a time of major changes and shifts, and we all are experiencing this one way or another. And Peter will talk about this in more detail regarding the effect this has on us as individuals and therefore humanity. And he will help us all to be reminded of the importance of being in touch with the divine presence that nests in every one of us. And we can tap into this with enough practice and time and cultivate this high vibrational state which creates love and harmony and peace. And we need that more than any other times now. We always needed it. And so if you are new to this group and this is your first time at this meditation, welcome. We are very happy that you have decided to join us today. And if you have been a long-time friend, welcome back. We are very happy to see you again. And thank you for your work to the light and for your love. For those of you that are new here, I would like to invite you later on to take a look at Peter's website, which is www.iamteachings.com. And I will put this website in the comment box so you can also access it later on. And on the website, you can find Peter's wonderful books that I would highly recommend. And not to mention that this meditation and talk and teachings are entirely free. However, if you would like to support this work, we will greatly appreciate any donations that you can make either through PayPal on Peter's website, or you can also mail a check to the Church of the Seven Rays. And the address would be P.O. Box 711, Mount Shasta, California, and the zip code is 96067. There's one more additional note I would like to make, and that is for those of you guys that would like to pursue individual healing. You may contact our dear Annika, who is here with us, that has hosted previous Zoom sessions and has been working closely with Peter. And she is in service of healing with love and compassion from the heart. You may contact her at her email address, which is healingwithannika@gmail.com. So that would be all from me. I thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart again. And I will invite Peter now to speak. Hi, Peter.
It's good to see you all. It's very, it touches my heart to see your presence here, your sincerity and dedication to the light. Before we start talking about God, which to some people is very serious, I would like to remind you, God is also, does not have to be serious. God can be fun, beautiful, and uplifting, and even light. So in that vein, I would like to ask Annika to open our meeting with a little song that will lift our spirits.
And hello, everyone. So happy to be with all of you. The song that's on my heart this morning for our meeting is Joyful, Joyful. If you know this song, feel free to join along with me. I'm just going to sing the first verse. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. Melt the clouds of dark and sadness drive the dark of doubt away, giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day.
Thank you, Annika. That was beautiful. So what came to me to talk about is really the reality of the I Am presence, the God presence. And you see one artist's portrait of it here on the wall behind me. This truth has been known throughout time in every culture. And its awareness was brought to the West by back in the late 1800s by Madame Blavatsky, and then later by such beings as Godfrey Ray King, and well, there are a few others also. And in India, this would be known as the Atman. In Tibetan Buddhism, the Dharmakaya. Then the middle body would be the Sambhogakaya, and the physical body, the Nirmanakaya. This truth has been known by all initiates throughout time, but has been covered up and forgotten. And it's been the work of Saint Germain, whose picture you see on my left. It's a little bit blurry, but it has been his joyful work to make the I Am presence known, that each of us really is an embodiment of God. And of course, the question is, if I'm an embodiment of God, why do I seem to have so many limitations? But that's what we're going to talk about. So the way this painting came about was there was a woman in the audience by the name of May de Camera at one of the discourses Godfrey Ray King gave. And after the talk was over, she came up to him and said, I saw this amazing circular ball of light above you emanating rainbow colors. And then I saw another body, a light body, over your physical body. And he said, can you paint this? And she said, I will try. And this is the painting that we have now, used by the Saint Germain Foundation. There are other artists who have also painted it. On the screen share before the talk, there was one by Amorea, and you can get that if you look at my website, the blog. There's a link where you can order that from Zazzle. And then there's also a beautiful one by Marius Michael George that you can get at mariusfineart.com. But all these artists are portraying the same thing. And I feel that Saint Germain really wanted me to talk about this because this is the essence of our work, or the essence of his work and our work too, because we get so absorbed in what is happening politically, economically, health-wise, so on, that we forget the source. And that is where our freedom is. Our freedom from all limitation is in contacting the I Am presence. So when I came to Mount Shasta and met Pearl, who was my teacher, to whom I was sent by Saint Germain, and I started to see this picture of the I Am presence, I sort of took it with a grain of salt. I thought, well, you know, artists, they have good imaginations, and this is just an artist's idea of what your higher self looks like. But I didn't really think it was a real being. But then I noticed that as I started studying with Pearl, I would wake up at night and I would see various ascended masters standing beside my bed talking to me. I usually could not hear what they were saying. Sometimes I would, and frequently I would wake up in the morning and not remember what they were saying, but it was very clear this was not a dream. I would wake up and see a master standing there talking to me. So after a while, I started to hear a new voice that I didn't recognize. And by the second night, I woke up in the morning and I said, I want to know who you are. So if you come to me again, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell me what master you are. So the third night, I woke up in the middle of the night and saw this dazzling light up near the ceiling of the room. And it was to the right of my bed. It was like this painting, except I would have to say brighter than the sun. It was absolutely dazzlingly bright. And I was wide awake. And I shouted, "Who are you?" And it said, "I am you. I am your own God presence." And with that, I passed out. And I woke up the next morning and I remembered vividly what had happened. This again was not a dream. I had been wide awake, sitting up in bed. So then I knew the reality of the I am presence. This artist has painted the Christ self almost merged completely with the I am presence. The actual I am presence is a ball of light. And the various colors are the energy from all of our experiences through all our lifetimes. So that's really the true aura. We have a physical aura around the head and around the physical body. This is the spiritual aura that is really the sum total of all our good works, all our love, and all our wisdom through all our lifetimes. And it is a sun, which is basically an aspect of the great central sun. It's like a drop of the ocean. If you take 100 drops or 1,000 drops of the Pacific Ocean, they all have the essence of the Pacific Ocean, but you can put each one in a different colored dish or a different colored glass, and they will take on different colors. That's why we all have basically the same light in our hearts and in our minds, but they've taken on different colors through all our years of experience and through all of our actions and the wisdom that we have gained through all our lifetimes. So this is why when we meet another person who is a spiritual being, who meditates a lot, there's the feeling we've met somebody from our family. There's a great closeness. The closer we get to the I am presence, to the God self, the closer we feel to each other. Then there is an emanation that comes from the I am presence, which I will call the Holy Christ self. You can also think of it as the soul. So it's in contact with the I am presence, but it's also in contact with your human self. So it's an intermediary. And that is frequently the being we hear when we say we hear the voice of God, or we're praying to God and we get an answer. It's that Christ self, which is near us all the time, hovering between the human self and the God self. And when the Christ self and the I am presence merge, that is what's called the Ascension. There are beings in Tibet who can actually dissolve the physical body as well. And the name for that in Tibetan is Jalus, Jalus. And that requires really a lifetime of work and dedication. And I don't feel most of us in the West have time for that now. So the important thing is really to clear up our human karma, to learn the lessons which we are here to learn, and become masters on the earth plane, so we have access to our higher bodies, have access to the I am presence, but can still live in these physical bodies to be of service to others. And that is, in fact, one of our divine lessons, because it is as we serve others that we learn compassion. And I feel that is one of the reasons we have come into embodiment, is to learn that compassion. And something that will help us is really to realize that we are only here for a short time. It seems like a long time, but in the whole realm of eternity in which we live as immortal beings, our time on earth, all our lifetimes, takes place in the twinkling of an eye. So when we awaken from this earth experience, it will be like having gone to sleep for a night and having had some dreams. So it's important to look at all our experience as something which we chose to have. We chose to come into the world of limitation, of duality, the 3D world where there is lack and suffering, in order to gain compassion, which we learn in service to others. And what keeps us from getting pulled into that suffering ourselves is the memory of who we truly are, the I am God presence. Now, I'd like to tell you another story of a second experience I had with the I am presence. It was about 10 years after the first one. And I was about to go through a time in my life that was going to be very trying. Of course, I didn't know this at the time, but one night I was awakened by a dazzling light above the house. It seemed that I could see through the roof of the house, and it seemed that there was a light in the sky that was going to hit the house. All I could think of was that a commercial airliner had exploded, and this ball of light was going to fall on my house. And it came closer and closer and got brighter and brighter. And I really felt some fear, like this is it, it's over. And I sat up and was just in awe of this light coming down, preparing to die. And suddenly the light disappeared. And I sat there on my bed, sort of panting, thinking, what happened? And then about 30 seconds later, the light came back, and it came back stronger than before. And this time I realized that it was my I am presence. But the light this time was dazzling. It was not beautiful and harmonious like this painting here. This time there was no Christ self. It was just the dazzling light of my God presence. And as it came closer, my body became hotter, and it became so hot I broke into a sweat, and I thought I was going to ascend. You hear of cases of spontaneous combustion where someone just becomes incinerated in their bed and they just find ashes in the morning. And I really thought that was going to happen to me. The heat was almost unbearable. And I was drenched in sweat. And finally, I called out and I said, "Why are you doing this to me?" And the voice came back, "I want you to know my power, that I am your God presence, and I am with you always, and never forget it. And I have the power to achieve anything." And then it disappeared. And then I lay down again, collapsed, and went back to sleep. And sometimes when I'm feeling more identified with the human self that has doubts and fears, I remember that I am presence. And lately, Saint Germain has been calling my attention back to that is what we need to work on, because we turn on the computer, we watch the news, and it's very depressing and we feel powerless. But if you put your attention on that God presence, which you are, you will realize you have unlimited power. Who you truly are is the presence of God. And you chose to have this human experience to learn things, but you are an immortal being. And when these lessons are over, you will be freed of this limitation. So it's important to ask at this moment, why am I here? What am I meant to learn? So I'd like to maybe see if anyone has any questions. Then I would like for us to go into meditation and meditate on that presence. Monica, has anyone?
I would like to invite everyone to submit any questions that you have into the chat box. You may write them down now. I just see a whole lot of greetings from France and Portugal as well.
Maybe everybody's ascended. Well, it's okay. No one needs to ask a question. Maybe somebody has an answer.
I have one.
Yeah.
But if you have any input or suggestions for prayer with the massive toxicity that's being deliberately put upon people.
There is what we call, what you mentioned, toxicity. This is not just, physical plane or EMFs or whatever you want to talk, chemtrails. The toxicity is in the news and things like that. All I can say is the more attention you put on these toxins or these negative things, the more power you give to them. The best thing is to put your attention not just on the I am presence, but bringing the presence down into the physical body, like merging with your Christ self. And that self is not affected by these things. Like I took a Qigong class once from a Chinese master, and a few people said the room has fluorescent lights in it. I can't take a class in a room with fluorescent lights because of the radiation. And he said, if you will give me half an hour of doing Qigong with me, I will strengthen your aura to the point where those lights don't bother you. And he was right. Nobody left. And you can do these exercises, meditation, so on, to strengthen your aura so those things don't bother you. the toxins that we can work on right now are the toxins of fear, criticism, anger, pride, jealousy, and vanity and greed. And each of those can be transformed into a nectar, from a poison into a nectar, where there is wisdom. Like judgment and anger can be transformed into compassion. So when we see someone that makes us angry, like some political figure, we think that is evil. Why are they doing that? To somehow see them as a Christ being who is struggling the same way I am, trying to figure out what is right, and send them love, send the light from your heart to their heart. So that not only helps them, it helps you. But if you stay in the anger and judgment, you are pulling anger and judgment into you as well as sending it to them. You're actually making them worse by the condemnation you send to them. So it's in meditation, we can call on the presence. I am being shown what I need to work on in myself. And you will become aware of various human traits, human qualities. And these are things that have followed us from lifetime to lifetime. And these are the energies that are like clouds in our aura that block the sun of the I Am presence. And this is our work in meditation, especially invoking the violet consuming flame to dissolve those clouds that block the light. So that once again, we will become the radiant God beings that we already are on a higher level. So I think this answer to Helen's question will help a lot of the questions that people have about how to deal with what's going on in the world now. By realizing you are not here by accident, you chose to be here, you have a service being here, and that service can be put into action no matter where you are. Your every thought is going out, affecting humanity, and the more you meditate, the more powerful that is. So we are all masters in training, and this life is our training ground. I don't know any ascended master retreat where you can get the training and the lessons that you are getting in your daily life. They can explain certain things to you in the retreats and transmit energy to you, but the lessons in mastery are learned right here in the world in daily life. One of the big lessons is just to be at peace, to observe yourself. Before you react to somebody else, there's that old simple instruction, count to 10 before you react to something someone has said to you. Or observe 10 breaths, in breaths and out breaths. And during that time, you think, do I really need to say that? And a lot of times you find you don't. You can say, like my teacher Pearl said, why, God bless you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
So
So I see we have another
question.
comment here.
Do you have a technique to negate karma from past lives?
Well, karma can be good karma too. You know, karma just means action and the consequences of action. In fact, a common woman's name in Tibet is karma. When I first met a woman called Karma, I thought, how could your parents name you that? But they just mean this is somebody who's active, like busy as a bee. So I'll name my daughter Karma. So we can have good karma also, like it's our good karma to be meeting right now. So as far as negating bad karma, the best way to do that is through learning what the lesson is. We don't need to repay each karmic debt one by one. Like you might have caused the suffering of 100 people in a past life. You don't need to suffer for each of those 100. If you've learned the lesson, you can go on. And I would say using the violet consuming flame is an excellent way to dissolve that. And remember, the violet flame's essence is forgiveness. So if you want to be forgiven, forgive others, as Jesus said. Forgive others and you will be forgiven. So if you're interested more in this, I would suggest getting my books on the Violet Tara in Action. It's how to actually invoke the violet consuming flame, not only in your own mind, body, and world, but in the whole world, all the governments of the world, for all of humanity, to dissolve the mass karma of humanity. And this is a tremendous service. I do this every morning when I wake up and at night before I go to bed, and sometimes during the day. I am Violet Tara, blazing the violet consuming flame throughout humanity, dissolving and consuming all negative conditions and restoring everyone to their purity. May all beings be forgiven. Let's see. I think we maybe have one more question.
There's another question, Carrie Ann,
Mhm.
continuing to Helen's question. And I believe this question is more directed to what's going on in today's world with the vaccinations. And it seems like her concerns are about that and how to help relatives and people and children with all that.
Well, I don't want to go too much into these specific things, but I would say rather than tell people what to do or my opinion, turn inward to your I am presence. Take command of this situation, show me what to do. And it's very hard to know because I have dear friends on one side of these issues and dear friends on the other side, all of whom are very intelligent, dedicated people, and they have diametrically opposed opinions on these things. So I suggest each person to follow the guidance that comes through in their own heart. Now I feel I would like to return to what my real mission is, which is testifying to the truth of God within everyone and the reality of the I am presence, which is a real being. It is who you really are. It is not an artist's drawing. And do not lose faith that you don't see it. There are many times I call for that presence to come forth. I would love to see that blazing presence above me all the time, but I don't. Yet I know it's there. When I go somewhere or I do something, I call for it above me. I know that ball of light is about 50 feet above me. And as I meditate, it comes closer. I feel the energy coming down into my physical body. And I suggest if you want to be protected, that you do that. You invoke that energy to come in. That in itself is a form of Qigong. Gong means practice. Qi is energy. So it's an energy practice. Every morning when I meditate, I get up about 4 in the morning, and at first I go up into the Christ self, and I'm aware of the I am presence above me. And then the human self, Peter, disappears. And I do inner work. I send that light out wherever it's needed. Gradually, I start to become aware of Peter again in a physical body, and I start to come down again into the physical self. And there's tremendous energy that comes down. It goes down my legs into my toes, into the tips of my fingers. And I feel like a radiant being. And that energy is the best thing I can do for my health and my well-being and my happiness, actually. And sharing that Christ self with others is also an open door to happiness. And I suggest that you call someone that maybe you haven't talked to in a long time and just share with them. And I also suggest listening to uplifting music, like we just had a beautiful uplifting song by Annika. The other morning I was at the health food store and they were playing, what's that song by Bob Marley? Every little thing gonna be all right. Little birdie told me so. That was very uplifting. And I thought I should listen to more music like that. Or Pharrell Williams, that song Happy. And one of my favorites is James Brown, I Feel Good. I knew that I would. If you say that first thing in the morning, it can change your day. You know, I have this book of, I don't even know where it is. It's here. I Am Affirmations and the Secret of Their Effective Use. You can download that from my website or get it on Amazon. It takes about 20 minutes to read the affirmations in there. If you do that first thing in the morning, or even any time during the day, it reprograms your mind to think positively. Like every morning, I say, I am the great divine director of this day. Just feel that energy come in and go out from my heart. I am the commanding, governing presence of God going before me throughout this day, bringing about the perfect divine plan in all activity. I am perfect health, vitality, eternal youth, beauty, and perfection forever by the power of God, which I am. I am the great divine director of all the governments of the earth, directing all governments to do the perfect thing and establish peace on earth now. I am divine well-being come forth for humanity. I am love and compassion filling the hearts of mankind. May all beings be happy and receive what they need this very moment. Oh. So that was only half a dozen affirmations. If you do all of them in that book, or even half of them, it will change your day. Or write some of your own affirmations. This is your destiny, to be a God in action. Just make sure these affirmations come from your God self, not from the ego's desire for things to work out your way, the way the ego wants them. So that's where meditation comes in. I am being shown what to create. So thy will, not my will, be done. As Jesus said, the two great commandments, at the very end, at the Last Supper, Jesus said, I am going soon to my Father. And the disciples said, who is this Father you keep talking about? We've been hanging out with you for 3 years and you talk about him and you still haven't told us who he is. When do we get to meet him? And he said, you still don't get it, do you? He said, well, I'm just going to give you these two commandments. Try to do these. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. And love your neighbor as you would love yourself. Just try to do that. And I think that's really good advice for us now on this path of mastery. So I'm going to lead a meditation now where we can do just that. Let us go into the I am presence, or in communication with it. I would suggest closing your eyes, sit up straight so your back is straight, your chin is tucked down a bit. And take a few deep breaths. And just be aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, the rise and fall of your chest. And gradually you'll start to feel an energy in the center of your chest. This is where the sacred flame is anchored. This is where the light of your I am presence is anchored in the physical body. Your heart would not beat without this energy. You could not take a breath without this energy. So you're connected directly to God at every moment you are alive. It is God breathing in you and through you. It is God beating your heart. It is God dwelling in your physical form. And that focal point is anchored in the center of your chest. That is why if I see you and I say, who are you? You go, who, me? And you point to the center of your chest. You don't point to your shoulder or your chin or your knee. You point to the center of your chest. You don't even point to your heart. You point to slightly to the right of the sternum, which is where the sacred flame is anchored. And there is a tube of light that goes from that flame upward, up through your throat, up to your third eye, and out through the top of your head, up into your Christ self. The Christ self is your light body. It is not yet the I am presence, but it is your luminous self that can go anywhere you think, anywhere you put your attention, your Christ self can go there. So just feel that Christ self above you and send your love up to it. Beloved Christ self, please teach me and help dissolve my human imperfections and transform them into love, wisdom, and mastery and compassion. Please teach me what I need to know reveal to me what I need to work on. And every night when I go to bed, I ask you to teach me, and I also ask to go out and serve to help the masters. So feel this closeness with your Christ self. And you can say in the center of your heart, I am a living Christ. The word Christ means anointed one. So as we meditate and that higher self enters us, we are anointed. We are messengers of the Most High living God. So we are all Christs as we do this work of compassion to help humanity. And this is our own freedom. This is our freedom from negativity. This is our protection. This love and compassion is our armor to protect us from the negative things in the world. So the more love and compassion and light you emanate to others, the more you are protected and the happier you feel. Now gradually imagine your Christ self is going higher and drawing closer to the I Am presence, this ball of light emanating rainbow colors. And you raise up into it, and your heart is filled with the I Am presence. You can say, I am the Son of God. That's S-U-N. I am the radiant presence of God. And see these rainbow colors around you in circles, and this radiant sun in the center of your being. And just intensify that light, immerse yourself in that light. And just feel, you don't need to use willpower, just surrender. It's like getting into a hot tub. You are immersed in the light of your I Am presence. And you can say, I am a white fire being from the heart of the great central sun. So just immerse yourself in that and meditate on that light. Just gradually come back into the awareness of the form of our Christ self, emerging out of the I Am presence. And this self is about 10 feet above the physical self. And it is in communication with you at all times. And if you're not sure what it is trying to communicate, go with the feeling in your heart. Say, I am being shown where to go and what to do. And as you start to go in a certain direction, you can say, does this feel better or worse? If it feels better, that's a sign I'm going in the right direction. If it feels worse, that's the wrong direction. So ask your Christ self to create in you the feeling of guidance at all times. I am being shown what to eat, and I am eating it. I am being shown where to go and what to do. I am being shown who to talk to, what website to go to, what to do in my life, where to go. I am being guided and directed. And then pay attention to your intuition, to your feelings especially. And now come back down into the physical form and feel that energy filling the cells of your body. Feel the top of your head luminous, filled with light. The 1,000-petaled lotus, radiant with light. And then feel that light coming down into your third eye, the center of your forehead. And then down into your throat. Then down into your heart. And feel the love pouring out. And later you can go for a walk or do exercises. And as you walk, feel, I am the presence of God walking. God within me is walking. And feel the energy in your legs, your knees, your feet. Just feel a sun under each foot. I am blessing the earth with my footsteps. Each step is transmitting blessing to Mother Nature. You can bring the energy up to the solar plexus to give you physical vitality. But then bring it back up to the heart. So we're going to end today with the love in the heart. My love goes out to each and every one of you. And I give you the blessings also of the ascended masters who love you and are with you. They are as close to you as your own heart. Every thought to them is heard, just as God hears your every thought, your every feeling. So trust in that feeling, and what your attention is upon is what you will become.